Steering stem tightness and how it can affect your riding. So as you can see, this swings around very, very, very easy. So what you can do is you can take a 32 millimeter wrench, loosen this nut up top here, loosen both of your top triple clamps to relieve the forks. And then this is actually a nut down here, and this is what controls the steering stem tightness. And you can actually add more resistance to the steering by tightening down on that nut, and that's what we're... All right, so to adjust the steering stem nut tightness and to tighten down your steering, make it have a little resistance, kind of act like a damper in a way. You're only going to need a 32 mil, you'll need a box end wrench for this. 10 millimeter socket, I'm using 3/8. A 3/8 drive torque wrench to torque the triple clamps back down, and a set of pin punches. These are just flat on the end. You can get these relatively cheap. And then just any sort of hammer. I'm using a ball peen hammer. You don't need anything crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 32 millimeter. We're just going to take that nut right there, and we're going to loosen that up. That's the nice thing is the way this was designed, you can do all of this. You don't even have to remove the bars. So get that just to the point where it's freed up and you got some room to work with. Next step, we're going to take our 3/8 and release the tension on the top triples so that the forks can slide and adjust where they need to. Because as we adjust the steering stem bearing tightness, that will actually ever so slightly change this distance. Not a bunch, but enough that if you don't relieve these, it'll cause tension to add up in your fork tubes, and you do not want to add tension there. It's a very, very delicate part of the bike, very balanced, and you do not want to upset that balance. All right, so those are relieved. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to use this pin punch right here. We're going to take a hammer. I'm going to start here. And you just tap that around. And just keep checking as you go. But you can see how really free that is. Now they do make an actual wrench for these, but you truly don't need it. It's getting closer to where I want it. If you're getting a lot of head shake, I was really bad on this Suzuki, especially if I was coming over some acceleration bumps. You can use this to kind of help lock things down and to keep from getting that swapping feeling. So as you can see, it doesn't quite fall on its own anymore. I mean, it's still very free, but it's quite a bit tighter than it was. So just that little bit of resistance. So now that that's done, all we have to do is tighten this nut back down. After that's done, we'll go back in and we'll retorque the triple clamps back to spec. So back to the 32 mil wrench. I'm going to tilt the bars that way. Come over here, get on that nut, and just go ahead and tighten that down. So if you didn't relieve the tension on the triple clamps to allow your forks to move ever so slightly, tightening this down is where you would add that tension into your fork tubes. And that is definitely not something you want. So we'll get this tightened back down. And that's good and tight there. Definitely feels a lot better. So now all we have to do is take our same 3/8 socket, put it on our torque wrench. Torque wrench is already set to 16.5 foot-pounds, which is what the owner's manual calls for as the torque spec. And we're just gonna tighten it nice and even. Get that one snug, come to the top one. Now, if you would take the plate off, the number plate, it makes it a little bit easier, but you can get around that. Just kind of shove it out of the way real gently. And you don't have to remove that. Saves you a little bit of time. And there's the click. Go to the bottom one. Tighten until we hear a click. Sweet. Just double check the top here, just to make sure it hasn't adjusted. You want to go back and forth till both of them just immediately click as soon as you start to put pressure on that wrench. That's good there. Sweet. Okay, now we're going to run around to the other side here. We're going to do the same exact thing. All right, now with the triples torqued back down, the only thing left is to just take your bar pad, slap that right back on over there. Unfortunately, this is honestly the biggest pain in the butt part. It's just wrapping the bar pad around. It can be finicky. So take that. Line everything back up. All right, bar pad's back on, and that's another job complete on the RMZ. So, you know, you can always come back in if you find you don't like an adjustment that was made. And stuff like this is super easy to go back in and readjust. So don't be afraid to play around with it. Change your tension. Don't go crazy tight on this, but you can play around with this tension, find something you like. You know, if you want it a little stiffer, add a little more stability. You can pitch your bars forward, back, whatever you feel like might help you. It can go a long way to make you more comfortable out on track. The more comfortable you are, the faster you're going to go, then the more the lap times are going to drop. So hopefully this helps y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to be doing more stuff like this in the future. So keep an eye out for future how-tos, and some will be more in depth and some will be a lot simpler. So hope this helps y'all. Appreciate y'all. Ride safe.